Today we're going to be talking about parts of similar triangles. First, we have a couple theorems we can look at. The first says that if two triangles are similar, then the length of the corresponding altitudes are proportional to the length of the corresponding side. Just a reminder, an altitude is from a vertex to the opposite side, creating a 90-degree angle. So essentially, it's saying that AB over FJ is the same as AB over FG. So blue over blue is the same as red over red in this example right here. And 7-9, if two triangles are similar, then the lengths of the corresponding angle bisectors are proportional to the length of the corresponding side. Remember, an angle bisector is one from an opposite side that goes through a vertex and cuts the angle in half. So, essentially, this one would say that LP over RT is the same as LM over RS. Okay, those would be proportional. And then the last one we have, theorem 710 says if two triangles are similar, then the length of the corresponding medians are proportional to the length of the corresponding sides. So my median, remember, goes from one vertex to the opposite and cuts that side in half. So it would say CB over LZ is the same as AB over WX. Okay? We could set those up. And those don't always have to be the sides that they're proportional to. It can be any of the sides of the triangle. Alright, so let's look at this one right here. It says, in figure, triangle ABC is similar to D or FDG. Find the value of X. Okay? So if we look right here, AP is what? Well, let's see. It goes from an opposite side and cuts our angle in half. So this is going to be an angle bisector. It also shows that QF is an angle bisector. So we can say AP over QF is going to be similar to the sides. Well, in our case, the sides would be AB over FD. Okay, so those are going to be proportional. Let's fill in the numbers where we have that. Well, AP is X, we don't know what that is. QF is 8. AB is 15. And FD is 12. So I cross multiply. 12 times X is 12X. 8 times 15 is going to be 120. Divide both sides by 12. And you find that X is equal to 10. Good. Here's a couple guided practice problems. Find the value of X in example 1. This one would be what? Well, if it goes from an opposite side and creates a 90-degree angle, these are altitudes. And then right here, in example B, it goes from an opposite side and cuts the other side in half. Those are going to be medians. But it also shows that the angles are congruent on both sides. So that also means that this is going to be an angle bisector as well. So it's a median and an angle bisector. Alright, so here's a word problem. It says Liliana is holding her arm straight out in front of her with her elbows straight and her thumb pointed up. Closing one eye, she aligns one edge of her thumb with a car she is sighting. Next, she switches eyes without moving her head or her arm. The car appears to jump 4 car widths. If Liliana's arm is about 10 times longer than the distance between her eyes, and the car is about 5.5 feet wide, estimate the distance from Liliana's thumb to her car. Let's start by drawing a picture. Okay, so if this is Liliana right here, she's looking. Okay, there's some distance between her eyes, and it says she holds her arm and thumb out, and essentially between her eyes, this is going to be 10 times longer than it. So if I say that's 1, let's say 1 inch between your eyes, this is 10 times longer than it. Okay? 10 times longer than that. 10 inches. Well, it's probably not realistic, but you get the point. Okay? 1 and 10. Then, it says over here, we have our cars. Here's my little car right here. Okay? And then here's another little car right here. Okay? And it says it jumps essentially 4 car widths, right? So that means that there's a total of like 4 of these. Okay. Actually, it'd be about 5 people on it. So it's jumping 4 car lengths. Okay. So then, okay. So when she closes her right eye, she sees this left car. And then when she closes her left eye, she sees this right car. And it says it looks like it jumps about 4 times, right? 4 car lengths. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4 car lengths from side to side, right? Now we're looking for this length right here. How long is it from the car? And it says that each one of these cars is about 5.5 feet wide. So what we need to figure out is how far it jumps from car to car. Well, if it's going 4 car lengths, 5.5 times 4 is going to be what? Well, 5 times 4 is 20, and then half foot times 4 would be 2. So this is going to be 22 feet. So we have, essentially, if her arm is 10 times longer than the distance between your eyes, and we're looking for this amount right here, and we know that it looks like cars move 22 feet, we can set up our proportion. It's going to look like this. It's going to say this length, or excuse me, this length over this length, so 10 over x, is going to be the same as 1 over 22. Okay? We can cross multiply. 22 times 10 is 220, is equal to 1 times x. Don't really need to divide by 1, but I'll do it just for good measure. So we say x is going to be equal to 220. Here's another problem you can stop and try right now. Alright, so Theorem 711 is kind of a tongue twister. It's called the triangle angle bisector. And essentially what it says is if you have an angle bisector within your triangle, meaning that this angle is the same as this angle, then we can set up the proportion saying that Kn over Ln is proportional to Kj over Lj. So if I look at this example down here, find the value of x. So we see that TR is an angle bisector, which means that QR over RS, all right there, QR over RS is going to be proportional to QT over TS. Okay, so let's fill in our numbers where we can. Well, QR is 6, and RS is 14. QT is X, and TS is going to be the value of 18, but minus the X part. So now what I can do is I can do my cross multiplication, right? I do 6 times 18 minus X. Well, 6 times 18, go to my calculator, is 108 minus 6x, and that's going to be equal to 14x. Now, it's just a moron problem. I add 6x to both sides, and I find that 108 is equal to 20x. Divide by 20, divide by 20, and say that my x value is 5.4. Here's 2 more problems of guided practice you can try to do as well.